Before you go and buy Hogwarts Legacy, I thought I'd sit down and make this video, get you guys the information that you need to know before you drop down your $70 or more, depending on what version of this game you're planning on picking up and when and what platform. It's truly an interesting rollout schedule, and I'd love to know your thoughts about that, but all in all, let's go ahead and dive into this video, give you guys the information, and hopefully send you guys on the way. Now, all in all, I'm going to start and open up this video actually with a tweet from Hio. Now, he tweets out regarding the various different previews that are coming in from all the different outlets. If you guys have been hanging out here on YouTube or looking at any of the different previews written out by the sites, overwhelmingly positive previews are coming out from this game. Talking about how the gameplay is better than expected. Story seems to be very well written. Very good character customization, great side content, good variety. Free roam is fun, and you can also use your spells, and how it feels is incredible. And I think that's something to be said. One of the things when it comes to licensed games, this is just my personal aside, I've seen licensed games based off of properties really struggle in the past. We're starting to see more and more bridging the gap. I think Star Wars is a really good example of how they have been able to kind of deliver on something special with that, and I'm looking forward to the future of that franchise. But I was very curious about Harry Potter. I was like, honestly, like, how is the Wizarding World going to hold up? Now, it's set before the stories of Harry Potter, and I think that's the right call. Narratively speaking, it's going to give you the ability to kind of create our own witch or wizard and step into this wonderful world and experience it in truly a next generation style. So visually, all the previews, all the footage that I've seen looks absolutely incredible. But this is where we're going to get into some more information for you. The release schedule in and of itself is a bit of an odd one. We'll start with the current gen, Xbox Series X and S, PS5, and PC. The game releases February 10th. Now, if you get the deluxe edition, you'll unlock it 72 hours early access starting on February 7th. So that in and of itself is the big, in my mind, the big bonus for the deluxe, for ponying up a couple extra bucks. They do package it with a few things, but we'll cover that here in just a second. Now, for PS4 and Xbox One players, the release date is April 4th. Switch is going to be July 25th. Now, what's really interesting to me, and I'd love to know your thoughts here on this one, with a staggered release, I think it shows both confidence and it's going to give us some interesting information in the long run. Why? Because if the game comes out on the current gen and people hate it, it's going to be very difficult for them to want to sell, pick it up on the PS, 4 or the Xbox One or the Switch later this year. I think that's going to only heighten the intensity and the excitement for those platforms. The other side of this is that if those platforms needed a little bit more time to really make them as the best version that they could be, I really applaud them for taking that time here and making it delay the launch on the platforms so that they can be their best version forward. We can always call back to Cyberpunk 2077, in which that on the PS4 and the Xbox One, like, they were basically unplayable. But what they ended up doing, and they just pushed it all out, they really should have at least delayed those versions because they just weren't holding up. And I think that ended up causing a lot of the outrage there. So in this case, staggered release, those are the dates. Now, there are two versions of the game, so that you guys are aware. Standard is just the game. The deluxe, and I'm only covering the digital edition, there apparently is a physical collector's edition. And that is pretty wild. Maybe if you want to go look and hunt that down, you can go for it. But the deluxe edition, the bonus here, is coming with 72 hours of early access. You also are going to get the Dark Arts Garrison hat. This also comes with the Dark Arts pack, which you can actually pick up later. So don't feel like pressured that you have to buy it all at once. But this is going to have the Theastral mount, the Dark Arts cosmetic set, the access to the Dark Arts battle arena. However, again, like, you can always pick this up later. It's going to be DLC. Now, the game doesn't also seem riddled with DLC. It doesn't feel like it's not a microtransaction game. This isn't a game that's supposed to last forever and ever and ever, but it's going to be one of those things that it'll be interesting as we look back at 2023 and the impact that this game has, and if they decide to change their mind and release some more content, especially because all the numbers that are coming in on the pre-orders are absolutely mind-boggling. I think this is going to be a game that sells incredibly well. Now, for those of you who aren't going to be picking this up on console, we do have some system specs here for the PC. It starts off with the minimum requirements. You're going to be looking at a Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5, 16 gigs of RAM, and you're going to be looking at a GeForce GTX 960 or a Radeon RX 470. Looking at 4 gigs of GPU memory there. For the recommended, you want to step it up to an i7 or an AMD Ryzen 5 at the 3600 caliber. 16 gigs of RAM remains consistent, and the GeForce 1080 Ti or the AMD Radeon RX 5700 is going to be what they want for your graphics card. That is overall the recommended. Now, if you want to go 4K that resolution, and it doesn't give us, we don't have frames per second listed here, so I feel like the game already seems better optimized than what Forspoken ended up releasing as. But you're going to look at a Core i7 at a 10700K or an AMD Ryzen 7, 32 gigs of RAM, and the GeForce RTX 3090 Ti or a Radeon RX 7900 XT to be able to get that additional 4K performance on your PCs. And at the end of the day, I feel like at least at the recommended level, seems like this game should be able to run on a vast majority of PCs and be enjoyed by a lot of people. And with that, I think I've gotten specs, given me the release schedule, giving you some hopeful and excitement for the future of this game. We'll have to wait and see how it does, and I'll be sure to give you guys my thoughts and my review of this game as I go hands-on with it here in a couple of weeks. Thanks guys so much for your time. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you like this video and you feel like helping it out algorithmically, you can hit that like button. You can also hit that dislike button. I think both help. And if you guys enjoy content, if you enjoy these kind of videos about what's going on in gaming, RPGs, and more, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It's a great way of saying thanks and helping me out. I think over almost 20-ish% of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed, so maybe we'll be able to get that to step up here in 2023. Thanks guys for the support. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful day. Hopefully I'll see you next time, but until then, take care.